During every year's Pokémon Presents, like over half of the presentation is just mobile game updates. I get that these are to announce really everything Pokémon that's in the works, but I assure you that the majority of the casual fans who only play, like, Pokémon Go are not tuning in to a live stream at 8 in the morning to see the next update. Pikachu didn't get to be the highest grossing mouse of all time by limiting his reach though. I haven't really played many of these, I'm not much of a mobile game enjoyer generally speaking. I did get into Pokemon Shuffle when that was a thing, played it a ton on the 3DS. It's clear that these mobile games, regardless of what I think of them, make crazy money, so it's no surprise that these are the spin-offs we've been mostly seeing out of Pokemon for the last few years. Yeah, it'd be easy to write them all off as pointless cash-ins, and a few of them are, but to play devil's advocate for a sec, not everyone can spend tons of money for a new console just to play Pokemon. Maybe all they've got is their phone and they still want to play. Well, give them Pokemon Go or something like that. You know what, Pokemon Company? Fine, you win. I'll be fair. I'm gonna play as many Pokemon mobile games as I can, and I'm gonna see if they're actually any good. I'll rate them with my patented, true, but definitely not tried, Great Depression Dime scale. How many Great Depression era dimes I'd throw at it out of 10. Side note, I'm gonna make 2 exceptions for Pokemon Go and Pokemon Sleep though. I'd prefer not to record my screen while I'm walking around where I live, and as funny as talking about my sleeping habits would be, I'm not sure how much I'd trust my phone to be on and plugged in for 8 hours on my bed while I sleep. Let's start out with Pokemon Cafe Remix. It's one of those matching games, but this one's a bit different. It's not like your Bejeweled or your Candy Crushes. There's a physics element to it. As you drag and match Pokemon faces with each other, they'll all kind of just bounce around like this. You might have noticed that I'm not starting this one from the very beginning. My initial recording for this game turned out pretty bad, so I went back to record more. But while I've been working on this discussion, I've actually been playing this one a lot in my downtime. So, you own a cafe and Pokemon show up sometimes. You make food for them and they might start working for you if they like it. There's these special challenges you can get to, break sugar cubes or hazelnuts, clear honey or marshmallows, and there's specialties all the Pokemon have for certain dishes and drinks that'll give you little power-ups. It's pretty fun. Watching everything bounce around like this as I make matches is really fun to watch too. Some of the food in this game is also genuinely adorable, like these Eevee pancakes. This is so cute and they didn't have to do this, but it adds so much to the game. I wonder what an Eevee would be like after drinking coffee. Does caffeine affect Pokemon like how it affects humans? You think Pokemon wake up in the morning and think, oh boy, I sure do need my morning cup of joe for the long day of doing nothing but eating fruit and saying my own name ahead of me? Anyway, just generally, Cafe Remix is a very nice game to look at. It's really cute, and I like that a lot. There's seasonal events, like every mobile game has. Mew will show up sometimes and give you special rewards. There's deliveries that I think are just a light gacha mechanic, I'm not really sure, but that's kind of it for this one. I mean, it's a mainstay in the yearly Pokemon Presents. It's gotta be pretty damn successful if it's up here with a ball game, a crossover, and the closest anyone's ever been to world domination. I wanna give this one 8 Great Depression dimes out of 10, but I feel a little weird doing that for a mobile game, so, 7.8, I think that's fair. One of those other mainstays in Pokemon Presents is Pokemon Masters EX. Always looked interesting, but I just never gave it a shot. Well, that all changes today. Time to find out what a Master EX is. Oh, yay, there's more stuff it has to download. I hate it when mobile games do this. You think you've installed everything once you get it on the Play Store, and then it makes you download another gigabyte of stuff. I hate this. Alright, fine. Huh? A survey? Sure, I guess I don't have anything else to do. I have never played this. I don't know, man. I guess I'd like to see Quagsire in here somewhere. They still call it Twitter. Nice. I wonder what circle of hell I'm in. Alright, there. You happy, game? Are you done with the downloads? You have enough shit to work with? So a large amount of the 40-something minutes of footage I've recorded has been installing things and clicking pop-ups. This game is not leaving a good impression. And to make things worse, this is a gacha game, meaning you basically gamble to get new trainers for your team. Want the cool new costume for whoever? Well, better hope you poll well, otherwise you can go buy polls with real-world money. I went back to see if there were any new sets of characters a few days later after I first played, and guess what I saw right after opening the app? Take a wild guess. Next circle of hell down, I guess. So now let's finally talk about the game itself. Every battle is a 3-on-3, 3 trainers on both sides, each with 1 Pokemon. There's this Clash Royale energy bar down here that your Pokemon's attacks draw from. Stronger ones take more energy, so you kinda gotta think about what moves to make. You can tap between your 3 Pokemon to have them do whatever you want, you change targets by tapping them before you attack. That's about it. It's basically just standard Pokemon gameplay, but simplified even further than it already is. I mean, It's fine, there's nothing super wrong with it, it's just not all that engaging in my opinion. I guess it works fine enough for what it is though, and I could see this being enough for people who don't have access to the full main series. And maybe it's one of those games that just takes a bit to get interesting, and I just didn't play enough. I don't know. You do get some new party members from progressing in the story, so it's not like you're only gambling for new ones, but still. I feel like the main appeal is collecting models of your favorite Pokemon characters in cool outfits, and not the actual game itself. But I could be entirely wrong. I don't gacha game very often. The story isn't super interesting. You show up on some island and there's an all-star Pokemon battling tournament and some team stealing Pokemon or something. Major characters from the main series are here, but don't really have anything interesting to say. But expecting a lot out of a mobile Pokemon gacha game story would be like going to Target and asking for nuclear weapons. It's not gonna happen. I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay. I don't love gacha games anyway because a lot of them just leave me wishing I was playing other, better games that aren't aggressively monetized. Yeah, this one isn't for me. I will say though, I do like how this game merges every generation together for one big celebration like this. The weight kinda gets lost in the waves because like 70% of the Pokemon company's business is nostalgia, but it's cool nonetheless. Not enough to keep me interested though. 6 Great Depression dimes out of 10, moving on. So that's 2 down, what's up next? Hypocrisy. Pokemon trading card game Pocket is pretty neat. Sure, it's basically just gambling, but that's like half of what the Pokemon TCG is already. Hey, I didn't say I hate all gambling games. The app gives you 2 free booster packs to open every day, and quests to complete for hourglasses that let you open a bunch all at once. There's a $10 subscription you can pay for, and apparently you can buy more packs too, but I didn't see any way to do that. I genuinely can't imagine what compels people to spend their dollars on this when they could just go and get actual Pokemon cards. But people also pay a monthly fee for verification checkmarks on social media, so what do I know? There's Wonder Picks, also gambling, where you can get more cards from other folks too. You can trade with others, make decks of only 20 cards instead of the standard 60, and you can put cards in cool frames and display them on your profile. I haven't used that last feature a ton. All I have showing is this Charizard from the first set they released for this, and this really freaking cool Giratina I pulled recently. You've also got a battle mode that's pretty much just a simplified, faster version of the normal TCG's rules. Goes by a lot faster than a standard full game usually would, and fits the mobile, bite-sized format pretty well, it's good. TCG Pocket gets 7.5 dimes out of 10 from me. I think the full TCG rule set is more fun though, and lucky for me, the Pokemon company's got me covered. Trading card game Live, which I haven't actually used until now. And still haven't. I really wanted to talk about this today, but I ran my head into a wall for like 15 minutes trying to figure out this demon spawn of a login screen, and I just could not get it. Tried what I was pretty sure my login info was to the Pokemon Club account I know I have, and it never worked. Tried what I thought my login email was to recover that info, and I never got the confirmation emails. Tried another email, and still nothing. Tried to make a new account, and it wouldn't let me. So eventually I just decided, you know what? This, 0 dimes out of 10 by default, I'm gonna go play Pokemon Candy Crush. Pokemon Shuffle is one I remember really well from when it was a thing. Doesn't look like they ever updated it past Generation 7, which is kinda weird. Guess the game just stopped being popular around then. This is another matching game. It's a lot closer to a traditional Match 3 game than Cafe Remix is. There was a game that looked kinda like this on the DS called Pokemon Trozei. Never did play that one though. You match up Pokemon faces to do damage to the big Pokemon face so you can catch it. Typical mobile game tutorials and login bonuses. Mega Evolution is here since it was a Gen 6 game, that's super cool. Autono's the first one you get, but I believe every Mega that was out in Gen 6 and 7 is here. You get special bonuses for Mega evolving a Pokemon. Autono here will clear out a whole chunk of faces like this. You've also got special stages for bonuses or an extra challenge. They're pretty tough if you've only got the weak early game Pokemon like I do, and I remember the later main levels also being pretty tough. This game's pretty generous with the lives and plays you get, but for whatever reason, the 3DS version had that same system back in the day. That always bugged me, like, this is a console, all I use this for is games, let me play as much as I want. Come on. I get it's still free to play, but like, still. I don't know, minor issue for an otherwise pretty fun game. 7 dimes out of 10. I'm really surprised this is still on Google Play. Other mobile games from that era, like Magikarp Jump, got taken down years ago, but this one's still here. Oh, and the sounds also play too fast too, but I think that's more just because I have a newer phone and it's making the game run too fast. Speaking of fast, Pokemon Quest. As in, it was incredible how fast I forgot about this game when it came out. I played it, I put like an hour in, and then I never touched it again afterwards and completely forgot about it. So, I'm on a boat going to Tumblecube Island, where everything looks like Minecraft for some reason. I take control of an Eevee and... Okay, so this is pretty much a mostly automated Pokemon Rumble game. Your party of up to 3 fight your way through waves of enemies with a few moves you know. The entire main gameplay loop is watching your Pokemon run around on its own while it runs into enemies and you occasionally click a stronger move for it to use, so you're not doing a whole ton in the actual main gameplay yourself. There's even an auto button you can press and just let the game play itself while you go make a sandwich or write a segment about why you think this sucks or something. Wow, guys. Look at this absolutely riveting gameplay. Wow, this sure is fun. I know idle games are a thing, but does this even really qualify as one of those? In levels, you'll get these berries to stew, but as any mobile game with a mechanic like this would, it takes real time that you can pay to cut down and a limited amount of plays before you have to wait or pay too. The stews you make are what draw new Pokemon in for your team. You can use 3 in an expedition. I guess it's a functioning way of building your roster, but because the stews get closer to being done every time you beat a level, that means you're probably going to be grinding a lot for new team members. I don't like that. Then there's the Power Stones, which are how you build up your party members, which you also have to grind for, but like, I just don't care, man. I don't really think the cube aesthetic is doing this game any favors either. I don't think it looks all that great or special, and some of the Pokemon are also just ugly in this style. Oh, I sure do love it when mobile games give you tutorials on where to give them money. I do not think this is a good game. At least with Pokemon Masters EX, I can see the appeal. Who is Pokemon Quest for? Who asked for it? It's not super nice to look at, it's got nothing special about it, it's grindy, it's uninteresting, it's forgettable, it isn't even fun. Like, damn, can you believe I put this down super quickly? The music is fine, at least, and it isn't unplayable, but that's about all I can say about this one. 4 out of 10 dimes. Pokemon Playhouse dares to ask the question few are brave enough to ask. What if Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? But the mouse was yellow. So this is a minigame collection for toddlers. Plenty of areas to look around with all sorts of stuff to do. This girl will give you Pokemon eggs to hatch for new Pokemon friends, and you do that by playing minigames. I mean, that's definitely a way to make friends. Hatching them yourself like a chicken while you play WarioWare. I'm gonna start by looking at the stars with my lovable entourage of fellow tower enthusiasts. Trace the outline, make a Pokemon. This one looks like a kite. Zygarde Core. Okay, weird polygon? Pyukumuku. This game is pulling these out of its ass. Oh, my egg hatched into a bear. So then I learned you can tap the Pokemon and have them make noises. I then spent an unhealthy amount of time tapping this Magikarp over and over because I thought it was funny.
Let's go play with some Pokemon!
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Here's the playground. I put this Zygarde Core on a swing and pushed it a ton. Then I put Pikachu through G-Force training before getting bored and leaving. Playroom's next, where I can read stories and do puzzles. This is hardly a puzzle. This is more like, where does the Brita filter go? That's right, in the Brita filter hole. Then I read a book about Litten taking a nap in a hot spring. A bunch of other Pokemon show up one day and a Snorlax decides to just plop right down on Litten's special rock and breaks it into little tiny pieces. This Popplio decides, alright, big guy, you can be Litten's rock then. So that happens and all is well once more in the world of miniature pocket-sized creatures. Flashlight tag, find all the silhouettes. Feeding time, basically that one berry catching game from Pokemon and Me and Pokemon X and Y. Pokemon grooming, basically Pokemon Refresh from Sun and Moon. If it seems like I've been blasting through things, that's because there's not a lot to anything here. It's all very, very simple, which, you know, is to be expected. It's made for toddlers, but that's good. Toddlers probably aren't going to be able to wrap their heads around super intricate RPG mechanics or anything like that, but they will enjoy watching a Snorlax be stupid. For what it is, honestly, it's pretty good. If you have a young kid and they like Pokemon, I'd say this is a pretty good distraction. Certainly a lot better and safer than just giving them YouTube and letting them go crazy. 7 times out of 10. And so we come to our final game of the day. I went into this discussion thinking that all of these games would be pretty standard Pokemon stuff, you know, battles, type matchups, competition, all that. What I didn't expect for any of them was having a core mechanic be brushing my teeth. Pokemon Smile, otherwise known as basically Tooth Tunes if it were a game for smartphones. So not Tooth Tunes. The idea is to get kids to practice good dental hygiene with a fun game. And also establishing brand loyalty at a young age. But that doesn't matter, look at the Eevee! Thank you, game. Thank you for the heads up. Alright, so apparently there's hats I get to wear while I'm doing my teeth. Oh, this is gonna be a bitch to cover my face for. So, for the main game, you have your Pokemon sitting on the bottom fighting off shadows for some reason. I guess they're plaque monsters, I don't know. There's red icons right here appearing over the teeth it wants you to brush too. And if you look to your right in front of you, you'll see me making a complete ass out of myself. I'm pretty sure you can just make the brushing motion and it'll still recognize that you're doing what it wants, because I didn't actually realize that I wasn't brushing the parts of my teeth that it wanted me to brush here. 2 minutes pass and then it gives you a Master Ball for a Pidgey, okay. That's essentially the entire game. I'm sure it gets to be more engaging later on, and I bet it's a lot of fun for little kids, but I feel like the novelty would wear off pretty quick, even for them. At the same time, like, I'm a 20-year-old woman, dude, this wasn't made for me. A Polygon journalist rage quit this game because they couldn't figure it out and then wrote this super melodramatic article about it. That in itself is a funnier joke than anything I could ever write to end this segment. I don't know, 6 times. You're not gonna find a lot of masterpieces on the Google Play Store. These Pokemon mobile games are no different. They bring the good news of the yellow battery mouse to the common folk while also making an obscene amount of money. And that's really all they are. Yeah, it's lame that we've mostly been getting these free-to-play mobile games as spin-offs instead of new mystery dungeons or rangers or what have you, a few of them being blatant cash-ins or just outright pointless, and I'm not here to tell you otherwise. What I'm here to do is judge these games on their own merit, and I've done that. For the most part, they're fine. All a mobile game really has to be is quick bursts of simple, fun gameplay to pass the time in between classes or while waiting for the bus or something. Or in the case of Playhouse, distractions for toddlers. And that's what these are. They do their job pretty well for the most part. Now, Pokemon Smile, I don't even know how I'd classify that. I mean, it's funny that it exists. I wonder if it'd be fun to bust out at parties. They kicked me out.